What's up, Braves country? Have you really been keeping up with the off-season, or are you just waiting for open day to turn on the alert? If you don't have the chop on fired up, you better pay attention now, because what Alex Anthopoulos is doing behind the scenes is a silent revolution, and if you blink, you will miss the next National League East Division banner. The front office, under the leadership of General Manager AA, has gone into full furious mode. After a 2025 season that didn't go their way, they are plugging the holes and injecting pure talent into the roster's veins with heavy contracts for names like Raisel Iglesias, Robert Suarez, and Ha-Seong Kim. These signings show that there is only one mentality here: winning. The NL East is ours, period. But in the middle of this tsunami of talent, one particular move is being called the pleasant surprise, a subtle move that might end up being the most beneficial of all. And if you don't know what it is, it's time to go on high alert. While everyone was watching the Marcell Ozuna saga, or who would fill out the rotation, AA brought the axe down on a position that had been embarrassing our uniform. Think about it. Left field registered a dreadful .655 OPS over the last two seasons, the second worst mark in the league. That is unacceptable for a franchise that expects the World Series every year. Jurickson Profar did improve things a little in the second half of 2025, but now he is projected for the designated hitter spot if Ozuna really leaves. We needed depth, flexibility, and above all, a reliable bat. And that is where he comes in. Mike Yastrzemski, a 2-year, $23 million contract signed on December 10th, considered by Bleacher Report as one of the 8 surprisingly good MLB signings so far. This is the guy who will give us the flexibility we need at designated hitter and the essential outfield coverage alongside Ronald Acuna Jr. and Michael Harris II. Yastrzemski, who hit 17 home runs in 146 games in 2025, arrives with a solid career track record, including an OPS plus of 113. That's more power, more plate discipline, and more depth coming to our offense. The burning question is, does this subtle, low-cost signing really save our left field and guarantee another division title? The chop-on is stronger than ever, but we need performance on the field. Let's dive into what this subtle but deadly acquisition means for our chances in 2026. Chop on. Fan, the wait for the World Series is eternal, but General Manager Alex Anthopoulos is not messing around. The 2026 offseason is already marked by urgency and course correction. After a 2025 that was less than what Braves country expects, Anthopoulos has acted with surgical precision, reinforcing the bullpen and the infield, seeking that non-negotiable dominance in the East Division. But it is the signing that many consider the most quietly brilliant that deserves our focus today. Mike Yastrzemski. The Atlanta Braves front office closed the deal with Mike Yastrzemski for 2 years and $23 million on December 10th, with a club option for 2028. This is not a $100 million splash, but it is a tactical move that Bleacher Report classified as one of the surprisingly good MLB signings so far. And why is this $23 million injection into the outfield considered a pleasant surprise? The answer lies in the dismal numbers that embarrassed our uniform for 2 long seasons in left field. We had 2 seasons of terror in left field, fan. Things were off for the entire Braves offense, but that doesn't justify how little production they got from the position. Left field registered a .655 OPS in the 2024 and 2025 seasons, tied for the second worst mark in the league. That is not the standard for a team that should dominate the NL East the way the Braves do. We needed an upgrade, not a stopgap. Yastrzemski, who played for the San Francisco Giants and Kansas City Royals in 2025, arrives to solve that. His numbers in 2025 were solid. A .033 batting average with 17 home runs in 146 games. But what really stands out when we look at his career track record is consistency. In 7 MLB seasons, he has a .238 career batting average, 123 home runs, an OPS plus of 113, and a 324 OBP. That 113 OPS plus indicates that, in terms of park-adjusted offense, he has been 13% better than the league average. He is not just a fill-in hitter. He is an above-average hitter who brings power that was missing in left field. The acquisition of Jastrzębski drastically improves the outfield depth and grants general manager Alex Anthopoulos the strategic flexibility that separates champions from mere contenders. Our outfield is now very well defined, with Ronald Acuna Jr. in right, the phenomenon Michael Harris II in center, and the duo Jastrzębski and Jurickson Profar, who improved the offense in the second half of 2025, splitting time in left. But it is the designated hitter, DH spot, that makes Jastrzębski's contract a masterpiece of roster management. With the almost certain departure of Marcell Ozuna, who is still a free agent, and Profar being slotted to occupy that DH spot, Jastrzębski takes over as the starter in left field, filling the .655 OPS hole. And there's more. We have a real concern about the hip injury of our catcher, Sean Murphy, who is expected to miss the start of the season. Without Jastrzębski, the Braves would be vulnerable at least one position in the lineup. With him, we have the depth to maintain the level of excellence. This ability to absorb the impact of injuries and transitions is what makes this subtle deal so advantageous. This signing is not isolated, fan. It is part of a larger plan to ensure that the chop on is heard loud and clear at the top of the East Division. Anthopoulos did not just bring in Jastrzębski. He closed a $45 million deal with pitcher Robert Suarez, guaranteeing an elite arm for the bullpen. He ensured the stay of the great Ha-Seong Kim for 1 year and $20 million and maintained stability at the end of the game with Raisel Iglesias on a 1-year, $16 million contract. The front office has been very busy, yes, but with a clear objective: to bring the trophy to Atlanta. The preseason was good, but these contracts, and especially the $23 million pleasant surprise of Mike Jastrzębski, will need to translate into relentless performance on the field in 2026. Victory is the only option. Attention, Braves country. Alex Anthopoulos is not playing around this offseason, and that is the only acceptable attitude for a general manager who expects nothing less than the World Series title. After a 2025 year that wasn't what we expected, with performance falling far below the standard of the National League East Division champion, the front office reacted with the aggressiveness that our team and our history demand. We signed heavy hitters like Raisel Iglesias, Robert Suarez, and Ha-Seong Kim, showing that the chop-on is real and constant, but the Mike Jastrzębski move for 2 years, and $23 million is being considered the most silently advantageous, and that is where AA's genius resides. We need to talk about the tragedy that was our left field for the last 2 seasons. It is embarrassing to look at the numbers. The left field position registered an OPS of only .55 in the 2024 and 2025 seasons. I repeat, .55 OPS. For an offense that has the tradition and power of the Atlanta Braves, that is simply unacceptable, tied for the second worst mark in Major League Baseball throughout the entire period. This hole in the lineup was a priority target, and with Jurickson Profar moving to the designated hitter position full-time, or at least for much of the season, the urgency increased dramatically. This is where Mike Jastrzębski enters as a surgical and depth solution. The deal closed on December 10th with a club option for 2028 is much more than a gap filler. He is a veteran outfielder with 7 solid seasons under his belt, and his career performance is a quantum leap compared to the misery that was coming from left field. With a career batting average of .238, 123 home runs, and an OPS plus of 113, Jastrzębski brings an above-average bat to a position where we were desperately below average. The 113 OPS plus means he has been consistently 13% better at creating runs than the average MLB hitter. He is not an all-star, but he is solid starter production, reliable and with power for 15 to 20 home runs per season, as we saw in 2025 with his 17. The real value of this signing, and why it is labeled as surprisingly good by analysts, is the flexibility it offers the Atlanta roster. Our priority is winning, and having depth is the key to the consistency required to win the NL East for the 6th consecutive year. First, the outfield issue is resolved. Ronald Acuna Jr. in right, the talented Michael Harris II in center, and now Yastrzemski taking most of the time in left. This guarantees a defensively capable and offensively potent outfield. Second, and perhaps most crucial, is the designated hitter uncertainty. Marcell Ozuna is still a free agent. No decision has been made about his future, and frankly, everything indicates that his era in Atlanta has come to an end. With Yastrzemski guaranteed in left field and Profar being able to be relocated to the DH, we gain valuable time to evaluate market options and, more importantly, to maintain the firepower of our lineup, regardless of who occupies the DH. Position on opening day, we cannot run the risk of relying only on one name, and Yastrzemski allows this rotation and workload management. Furthermore, we have an injury situation that cannot be ignored. Our starting catcher, Sean Murphy, is expected to miss the start of the season due to a hip injury. The absence of an elite hitter, like Murphy, is felt by any team. The addition of Yastrzemski acts as a vital layer of security, ensuring that, even with one of our pillars out, the power in the lineup remains intact, allowing the coaching staff time and space to integrate the other players without the pressure of having to compensate for multiple power absences simultaneously. The front office did its part. Anthopoulos delivered the pieces we needed: stability in the bullpen with Suarez and Iglesias, a second elite shortstop with Kim, and now a solid outfielder with a positive OPS plus who solves our biggest offensive production problem with Yastrzemski. The team is built to dominate, and these signings need to, and will, translate into victories on the field in 2026. The pursuit of the National League East Division title is an obligation, and the $23 million signing of Mike Yastrzemski is a fundamental step to ensure that our lineup no longer has exploitable weak points. The season is coming, and with this reinforced roster, the expectation is the only one we know: total victory. The chop-on has never been so urgent. The Atlanta winning machine is ready to crush another year. With our history of division titles, the strength of the offense is undeniable, and the mantra is the same as always: win, win, and win. Nobody holds this team back. The goal is the World Series. Now I want to know your opinion, loyal fan. Leave your comment about this news, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss the next scoop on the best baseball on the planet. Thanks, Chop On Nation.